the second case study to look at is Michael Owen. He suffered a thigh strain, a grade 2 thigh strain. Owen had a history of injuries and had only signed for United, where he was playing at the time of the injury, for a short while. As mentioned before, he suffered a grade 2 thigh strain and he was out for a total of 168 days. He suffered the injury in February, meaning he missed the important end to the season, and as well he was also out for the whole of the pre-season for the beginning of the following season. And if we look at his physiological and psychological responses, some of these will be fairly similar to Jonathan Davis, however some change. So first of all, obviously the inflammation is going to be the same. The body's going to try and send the blood to the dead muscle tissue to try and fight that and combat that. And I had the same 2 stages as Jonathan Davis as with Michael Owen. He's going to be in denial. But for slightly different reasons. He's going to be in denial for this time because he's had an history of injuries. He's going to be thinking, no, not again. This can't be happening again. This isn't going to be serious. This is just going to be a little knock. I'll be out for a few weeks again. He's not going to think this can't happen again because his career had really been hindered by injuries, and he's going to be very much in denial that it can't happen again. I've just joined a new club. It can't happen. It won't happen. And this is going to be followed up by an emotional state, mind state of fear. He's going to be in fear because he's going to have known the consequences of what could occur from an injury. The long periods of time he could be out for, the games that he's going to miss. He's going to be in fear that the injury that he's picked up is serious, and that it's going to keep him out for a long period of time. Moving on to the diagnosis. Again, I've gone for anxiety and stress because he's going to be stressed out again, not knowing the length of time. It's just really going to worry him that he's going to be out for a long period of time, which subsequently was. Anger, he's going to be angry because he's going to think, why always me? Why do I always pick up the injuries? He's going to be really frustrated with himself and with his body that it keeps letting him down every time he gets an opportunity to move forward in his career. He's always hindered by injuries, and this thigh strain is just another one that's gonna infuriate him because he knows it's gonna keep him out for a period of time. He's going to be bargaining. He's going to be praying to potentially God, to anyone that will listen, and most importantly, bargaining with himself that he's going to be praying this isn't a serious injury and that he'll be back in a few weeks. It won't disjoint the momentum he may have built up in the team. He won't miss important games at the end of the season, and he's bargaining that this situation won't be long. Like, he won't be out for long, this injury. As mentioned again, the inflammation stage would end here, 10% time of the recovery time. And then he'll receive the diagnosis. Obviously, he'll know what he's got now, grade 2 muscle strain, and he'll know how long he's out for. So at this point, I think that he'll feel isolated really early on. He'll know that it's happened again. He knows that he's going to be away from the team for a long time. In his head, he's going to be thinking, I'm going to be having to do a lot of, he's going to be feeling very isolated, very alone, knowing the period of time he's going to be out for. And he's going to be just feeling isolated, alone, probably a little bit depressed as well. And he'll also be in denial. He'll be like he'll go back to denial. He'll think, I can't be out for that period of time. This can't be happening. This isn't happening. I'm not going to be out for this long. I'll be able to get back fitter, stronger, quicker. The diagnosis is just a time. It won't hinder me in coming back quicker. And he'll really be defensive about how long he's going to be out for. He won't consider this to be a long injury. He'll think, I'll be back sooner than expected. I'll make the end of the season, which subsequently didn't. Beginning treatment after diagnosis. Well, I think Owen's going to be a bit frustrated because he's going to know that he won't be able to play. It's the treatment stage is the hardest section because you're on your own. You've got to do the stretches, the things you're not used to doing in training. You can't just do the kicking of the balls, the scoring, the goals, and doing those sort of things that you're used to doing daily. You've got to do stretching, strengthening of the muscles that perhaps is quite grueling and quite difficult to get through. And this is going to frustrate him. He's not going to be able to do what he wants. He's going to be, again, still on his own, which is going to frustrate him further. And just not being able to play week in, week out is going to really, really get to him and really frustrate him. And also there's going to be a lack of motivation, particularly with him considering he's suffered so many injuries in the past. That he's going to be thinking, if I come back, when I come back this time, it's just going to happen again, sort of thing. There's going to be a lack of motivation. He's going to be questioning whether it's worth coming back worth all the effort, all the days in the treatment room, doing stretching, doing strengthening. It's really going to get to him, and it's really going to need him to overcome a lack of motivation, which is going to be quite obvious within him. And then finally, one of the strategies I would suggest is keeping a journal or a diary. It will let him track his progress. It will let him make little self-notes to himself about what he needs to improve, what he can get better. And it will allow him to look back at it, see what he can improve. It's a physical representation of what he's been doing, what he's been achieving. And I think that would be quite important for him, considering he's out for quite a long period of time. He's probably lacking a bit of motivation. Just having physical notes that you can refer back to when you're feeling down about how far you've come since the beginning of your treatment to where you are now, sort of thing. And I think that will be a big part of why keeping a journal would be effective. And then the treatment section, obviously the goal setting will come in, getting back, hitting stages of recovery, time periods. And I think that the goal setting aspect will accompany the journal and diary, as in keeping up to date with it, being able to compare the two about where you set your goals to where you are now with the help of the diary and the journal. And them two are quite interlinked and will help Owen potentially come back stronger, hopefully. I think with the goal setting and after keeping the journal and getting nearer to recovery again, hopefully a little bit more motivation will begin to set in. He would have got over that lack of motivation at the beginning of diagnosis, and when he's fully into his treatment, he'd be motivated once again to come back stronger, fitter, and be able to play for Man United again. I think acceptance will set in later with Owen than it did with Davis, because Davis hadn't been here before, had a long-term injury before. He probably would have accepted it a lot quicker and sort of gone, right, we need to just carry on and get on with this now. Whereas Owen would have probably suffered a bit, obviously, going back to the lack of motivation. He would have lacked motivation. He would have keep referring back to the fact that he's got injured again. And that really is going to affect him. And so the acceptance will probably happen towards the end of his treatment when he's nearly back playing again. The acceptance that he's going to be okay, he will come back again and be able to get back out on the pitch. Also, that was the end of the reparative stage, which is up to 40% of the recovery time. And then his body will start remodelling and moving towards the beginning of training. I said that a strategy he should use towards the middle part of his treatment to the end is self-imagery, going back out onto the pitch, just standing there, maybe in your kit, maybe not, just imagining spending, I don't know, up to half an hour, just doing a bit of imagery. Imagine you're scoring goals, penalties, whatever areas of the pitch you want to focus on. Just, if he goes out there, he just goes into a zone of imagining himself doing it. So when he comes back, he'll be able to switch into that mode of scoring goals a lot quicker than if he hadn't been doing that. It's all about getting the psychological aspect of his game back to where it needs to be quicker, and then potentially the physiological side is going to allow him to do. So a bit of self-imagery will just allow him to do that. Right, beginning training. Again, I think with Owen, he's going to be feeling stressed and anxious about going back into training because he's suffered so many injuries in the past. He's just come off another long-time thigh strain. He's going to think, is the thigh going to hold up? Is it going to go again? He's going to be anxious about doing anything in training, anything strenuous in training, and he's going to be worried about coming back into the team fold again and wondering sort of where the team's at, and how he's going to be able to fit back in so easily and so effectively after being on his own and isolated in the treatment room for so long. And then I think a important strategy to use here would be to stay involved in sport, to be around the lads more. So if you go with them on the bus to match day, sit on the bench with them, be in the dressing room before for team talks, maybe even give a team talk yourself. Just being around the team on match days and in training games, that will really help him get back to where he needs to be and help ensure that he stays focused and motivated to get back in the team and to make his transition back into the team as easy as possible. And then finally, full match fitness. Obviously, the massive part of this, his emotional state of mind is going to be that he's lacking confidence. He's come off of another long-term injuries. He's suffered injuries before. He's going to be lacking confidence to go into tackles, to make shots, passes, to do anything within the game. He's going to really be lacking in focus, confidence, because he's going to feel like his thigh might go again, another injury might come along again, and he's going to be worried that if another injury sets in, maybe it's going to be longer, maybe it's going to be the end of his career. So he's going to be really restrictive with what he does on a football pitch.